What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the lab with another quest build. I was back in the builder, tinkering on some point guard hatches, seeing what I can cook up, trying to find a blueprint for something other than a bigger type wing, like a meta build. Getting away from some of the big man hatches I've been cooking up on the channel. Wanting to get back to our homegrown roots of good basketball, making a point guard hatch that's a floor general, something that doesn't have any liabilities or glaring deficiencies, and that can be the primary creator for any team. I really wanted to prioritize playmaking and being able to affect the game, and I think I found a really nice blueprint that you guys are going to like. You can tinker and probably find different names, but this thing has shades of Oscar Robertson, Rajon Rondo, Chauncey Billups, and one of my favorite players of all time, Jason Kidd. This is just the pure Playmaker. Like I said, I wanted to make this build for those looking for a point guard hatch to invest their hard-earned VC in. Something that can kind of do it all, but that's not OP in certain splash categories. So follow along to a T to get this name. There's plenty of different names in this tree, so if you tinker right or left, you'll probably come up with something different. And that could be better. This name is pretty generic, but at the same time it's kind of hot because you don't see many just playmakers running around the city. If you're gonna make this at point guard, you're gonna be 6'4", 221 girthy pounds with a max 7'1" wingspan. And you know we're going body shape built or burly because we want to look intimidating on the wood. When you look across and see your opponent, you want to see that, oh shoot, that's a behemoth. Is that a point guard? Like, I gotta bring a little heat to this battle, if you know what I'm saying. So we're gonna get our close shot to a 77. That's gonna give us that Hall of Fame Giant Slayer. That's gonna be very important. Then we're gonna get our driving layup to an 81. It's gonna unlock some nice layup packages. Then we're gonna get our post control to a 78. That's gonna be a badge thresh and unlocks gold drop stepper. We are punting dunk on this build, a la a lot of point guards that aren't trying to just jump out the gym and beat you with their athleticism. This is going to be one of those throwback point guards that just, it's a layup is 2 points as well. We're not going for those splash momentum plays. We're just going to play good basketball, and having a nice post control on this build at 6'4", you're going to be able to bully those little peanut water chestnuts that you're going to be matched up against. And driving layup and close shot, you're going to be under the basket, you're going to be able to finish amongst the trees, and we're just not trying to be brain dead and try to dunk everything. 14 finishing badges doesn't seem like a lot, but Hall of Fame Giant Slayer, some nice post control. You're going to be able to score on this build attacking the rim. And then shooting, we're going to get our mid-range to a 77 and our 3-ball to a 79. Now these might be name threshes. If you go higher, it might make it a 3-point playmaker on the 3-ball, mid-range playmaker 80 or higher, and so forth. But ultimately, I feel very comfortable auto greening at 77, 79 respectively on the jump shot. If you know your jump shot timing, you're going to be able to shoot just fine on this build. And also, it's not going to entice you to shoot every single time you're open. You're going to be more of a primary ball handler and distributor on this build. But you don't want to punt shooting. You want to be held accountable and be able to knock the shot down when you need it. But, if you have a build that's in the mid to high 80s or even 90s, you're gonna naturally want to shoot the ball when you're open. But in the high 70s, you play a little bit more reserved. You play within yourself. You're not just trying to make every splash play imaginable because you know you don't have the atch to necessarily back that up. This build represents that very well, and these shooting attributes are going to be just fine. We are going to get our free throw to a 70 though, and that's going to give us 19 shooting badges. Again, you're going to be able to knock that jumper down if you know your jumper, and you can step to the free throw line and knock down frees. Now going on to playmaking, this is where the build really shines. We're going to get our packs actually to an 87. It's going to give us those Hall of Fame Dimer, Hall of Fame Floor General, Gold Needles. Then we're going to get our ball handle to a 90, so you're not going to be getting ripped up the court. And then your speed with ball, let's get that to an 89. That's going to give you 28 playmaking badges. That is the primary strength and core reason for this build. You want to be that primary playmaker, but you also don't need to be the only guy to make the plays. You have elite ball handling capabilities to bring the ball off the court without getting ripped. You have nice speed with ball at an 89, so you're going to be able to dribble past players. But then your pass actually at an 87, you can dart up anyone on the wood. and you can be that vintage classic point guard that we all know that championship basketball is formulated around. Scoring-minded point guards, in my opinion, this is a philosophical approach. I think that's not a winning recipe for success. I think the point guard should be more of a floor general, and this build really epitomizes that philosophy. Having your playmaking around 90 in every category with 28 playmaking badges. You're not a dribble god. You have Hall of Fame quick first step, but you're not trying to, dance, shuck, and jive with your opponents. Let's just play good basketball, take proper angles, and then make your team better with some of these attributes. So playmaking is by far the most important thing on this build, and if you could allocate even more and ooze out even more badges in playmaking if you wanted to play elsewhere. But we don't want to be deficient in other areas. As you'll see, defensively, you are basically a two-way without the name, and to get the name, we'll go over that. You're going to get your interior defense to a 57. We're going to get our perimeter defense to a 79. We're going to get our stealies to a 65. Our block to a 65 as well. Our offense rebounds to an 82. And then our defense rebounds to a 93. Alright, that's going to give us 20 defensive badges. A lot to unpack here. Being a 6'4" girthier type point guard, I like having that 57 interior D. You don't want to be an absolute chestnut when you do get switched out onto a big, or if you ever find yourself latched on to a post scoring, someone backing you down. If you completely punt interior D, it's a wrap. Basically you have no chance. But being girthy enough, you could kind of stand your ground a little bit. Perimeter defense at a 79, you're going to be able to have that silver challenger, silver pick dodger. You're going to get bronze clamps on this build, but to get the two-way name, you're going to need that perimeter D to be an 86 and the stealie to be an 85, I believe. But what we're going to do is we're not going to prioritize steals, because I see, and I've mentioned this in some of my other videos, I see too many players spamming X or spamming square, whatever console you're on, and trying to go for splash steals that's just not real basketball. Steals are few and far between on the wood in real life, and when you spam steals, you take yourself more out of position than you might actually be attributing to getting steals for your team. So I want to try to preach here just good fundamental defense, playing situational basketball and not going for those splash plays. It's not like you're not going to be able to get steals. With a 65 stealie, you're going to be fine with that. But the rebounding on this build is going to go crazy. You get Hall of Fame rebound chaser with a 93 defense rebound. And with an 82 offensive rebound, you're going to be able to equip that gold read chase and go get offensive rebound and extra possessions for your team if you want to. So realistically, this is where that Jason Kidd, Big O, Rondo, Russell Westbrook come into play, because they are elite rebounders for their position all time. And so you actually can contribute even more ways off ball. Instead of just setting up the offense, passing it, you don't get it back. Well, if you're playing with selfish teammates, you can still impact the game by attacking the offensive glass. Or you can play your role and then get back on defense, for leakies and just playing good transitional defense. But it does unlock that extra potential if you do find yourself camping in the corner a little bit. Maybe dive in there and try to grab another offensive rebound and give yourself another possession for your team. But we're going to be punting, elite steals on this build and we're not going for that two-way playmaker name, because I don't want people going for those splash plays. I just want them to kind of play within themselves. But the kicker on this specific build, to get the name Playmaker, you still get defensive take. So it really is a two-way playmaker. So a little bit of a catfish under the hood, which is going to be really good. Your opponent's going to think, oh, he's just a playmaker. He can't shoot, can't play D, he's a peanut, can't dunk. But really, you can do a lot of different things on this build without the flash in the pan in the name. And then going to physicals, we're going to get our speed to an 80. We're going to max out our acceleration to an 88. A lot of you are probably going to allocate a little bit more to speed if you do use this build as a blueprint. But I think acceleration is even more important, because speed really doesn't come into play as much. And you do have an 89 speed with ball off rip. So, I'm going to allocate a little bit more towards other atch and keep speed at just a nice serviceable 80. And then we're going to get our strength to a 60. our vertical to a 65, and then the rest on stamina at a 90. You know, if you know me, I personally would not put it all the way up at a 90, but playing on a point guard, you know, who's going to be turboing a lot, you do want high stamina, and also for your dribbling ability, you don't want to, you know, run out of steam too quick. So going to takeover, you do get shot creator, playmaking, perimeter defensive, and rebounding take. I really just like enhanced jump shot contest. You know, we're not going to be going for clamps if you don't latch on. You just want to be able to put a hand up. And then I like glass clearing dimes or just going with playmaking. But again, you know, this build is an all-around, multifaceted point guard of the bigger personnel groupings. You're going to get that rare name, Playmaker. Oscar Robertson, Jason Kidd, Rondo, Billups, Mark Price, Vinny Del Negro, Kevin Johnson, Luka, Walt Frazier. There's a ton of point guards that fit the mold of this build. A lot of different branches in this tree. If you do tinker left and right, you could be a slashing playmaker, two-way playmaker, tempo pushing point. But I think a pure playmaker would be really fun to play on. Jason Kidd's one of my favorite players of all time. I personally modeled my game in real life after him. So I think this build could be really hot for any team, solo dolo, or if you got a squad. I would love to play next to this build at the rec any day of the week. Let me know what you guys think of this. Would you spend your hard-earned VC on a point guard like this, or what would you change? Would you make it more, you know, offensive inclined, or would you make it more athletically, physically gifted? I want to hear what you guys think of this blueprint. Let me know in the comments. You know what time it is. Quest Sparrow.